The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Now I am going to the one who sent me, and not one of you asks me, 'Where are you going?' But because I told you this, grief has filled your hearts. But I tell you the truth, it is better for you that I go. But if I do not go, the advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. And when he comes, he will convict this world in regard to sin and righteousness and condemnation. Sin because they do not believe in me. Righteousness because I am going to the Father, and you will no longer see me. Condemnation because the ruler of this world has been condemned." My sisters and brothers, the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
When is the last time you experienced God in your work? And remember, we define work as any productive activity you do, a homemaker, a student, a volunteer, whatever, our work. I know, a lot of you know, I was part of an organization called Heart to Heart Communications that really helped people look at how do they connect their work with their core faith and spirituality and live that out each day. And I know in a number of settings, not so much, wouldn't go into a workplace and start with this question, but I've gone to a lot of churches and asked the question among missions and so forth, when's the last time you experienced God at work? And most people, and I understand why, kind of would look dumbfounded. You know, like, wait a second, I experienced God at church. I experienced God even in my family. But at work, I don't know. You know, and probably we've all experienced God in our work without fully realizing it. Because we do say, you know, even the Baltimore Catechism, right, that God is everywhere. God is present. It's a matter of maybe we don't recognize him. And it's interesting thinking about this first reading. The jailer certainly experienced God at work. You know, and that earthquake, and then Paul and Silas staying there and not even leaving, and he's about ready to kill himself because he thought he was a great failure at his work. And then, stunned by all that, he says, "What can I do to be saved?" It's in his work, actually, ironically, it's in what he thought was a failure at work that he experienced God and God's saving presence. And Paul and Silas were there as missionaries, if you will, to help him realize in his work setting that what seemed like a failure, what seemed like horrible, in this case, the Lord was working through that to bring him to himself. You know, just one quick story. I remember a fellow that in his work, a salesman, and he said, well, he didn't experience God at work, but the one time he had a strong sense of purpose in his daily life was on Wednesday night when he taught a Bible study. And of course, that was good. Probably some of us can identify at church or in a small faith community or reading scripture. Yeah, the Lord is so present. And when he heard that, you know, maybe he needed to see the God who was always at his work, he acknowledged, because he joined a reflection group, that when he recognized that the Lord was calling him to ministry not only on Wednesday night in the Bible study, not only with his family as a husband and father, but at his work, that he took another look. He was a salesperson, and he came back, and in the reflection group, he shared that now he was in his selling to people, he was noticing them, first of all, as persons, not just as a quick sale. And he talked about a couple situations where he could see some people were hurting or struggling, and because he had an open heart, they shared some stuff with him, and he was able to encourage them a little bit. You know, not that they had lengthy conversations, but a real conversation, and he felt good about that. And what was powerful for him, and hopefully for all of us, his sense of purpose got bigger and wider. It wasn't just wait till Wednesday night at Bible study, that's good. But every day he went to work with a renewed sense of purpose and God calling him there, and his call to pray and recognize where maybe, even in some small ways, the Lord was calling him to serve him and to do good and bring a little more integrity and caring for one another at the workplace. So all of us, when we leave here, we go off to some sort of work. Do we see it as ministry and take what we've experienced here as recognizing the Lord out there, paying attention and cooperating with that Lord, and seeing we are all called to be ministers in our entire daily lives, including our work? A quiet moment. God bless you.